Welcome to Planting Joy Garden. It's July. That means it's time to start the harvest. And so today I hope to harvest out some carrots and get all of these carrots out. And I'm going to be harvesting out some new potatoes. So I planted three tiny potatoes, golf ball Yukon Gold potatoes. And my goal was to collect new potatoes, Yukon Gold, because you know the price of new Yukon Gold potatoes is pretty expensive. And I have been digging in, pulling out small potatoes. So we'll be doing some harvesting of these potatoes today. Let's get started with the carrots. So I'm going to start on these carrots. Now these carrots are planted in 1 square foot of space. They were planted kind of densely. I attempted to, space them appropriately, but carrot seeds are so small. So one thing about carrots, if they're planted in loose soil, you get nice straight carrots. And as you can see, I pulled out some nice straight carrots. Another thing to consider is if they're not spaced appropriately. If they're too close, you'll get small carrots. And if they're well spaced, they'll be nice sized carrots. So I'm going to pull out these carrots and then I'll show you midway what we're working with. So I wanted to share with you, these are the short and sweet carrots. Sometimes they're referred to as Danver carrots. And you can see they are short. The size, the width, the girth of the carrot depends on the spacing. So I wanted to just give you an up close look at some of the variation in size. And it's not because of the seeds or anything that went wrong or right. It's all related to spacing. So I'm going to go through this again and I'm going to show you how much I can pull out of 1 square foot of space. And as you can see here, nice size carrot. It was nicely spaced. And this area received quite a bit of sun. I kept the area moist, and this is all a result of spacing. Okay. And I must say, for 1 square foot, this is quite plentiful. So there's quite a bit of carrots, and I'll let you see what we've harvested so far. Okay, here's my basket, and you see the varying sizes. They're all very nice straight carrots because I'm working with very loose soil, and that's so important to have really loose soil when you're planting carrots. And the size depends on your spacing. So as much as possible, you need to space your carrots appropriately, or you need to thin out the carrot seedlings when they're young in development. So this is what I have so far, and I will continue to pull carrots. So here is 1 square foot of carrots that were nicely spaced, not perfectly spaced, but as you can see, you can yield a lot from 1 square foot of planting. Okay, so now I'm going to harvest out my new potatoes, my new Yukon Golds. These have been growing for roughly maybe 65 days, close to 70. So it's close to maturity. And as I mentioned, I have been digging potatoes out of here. So let's see how we did with our Yukon Gold. I used very tiny seed potatoes. These potatoes were the size of golf balls. Ooh, I can see that there are so many grubs in my, oh, look at all of these grubs. So in case you're wondering, there's a grub. So I am so happy that I'm getting this out because the grubs would finish them off. So I may not actually have any potatoes here because the grubs could have finished them off. And I think this is compost um, that I used. And obviously this compost had lots of eggs in it. So that is a concern. Can you see the volume? These are the grubs. And it's hard to imagine that the grubs would get inside of a grow bag. So it must have been in my compost. And I did use purchased compost for this. So now, like I said, I used 3 golf ball size Yukon Golds, and basically I got golf ball size potatoes. I am so happy that I took the time now to harvest, because this could have been disastrous with all of these grubs. And I was actually thinking about reusing this soil. Now, I don't know. That's a lot of grubs. And I mean, this is an unbelievable amount of grubs. This is just unreal. I don't know. This might be more of a grub harvest than anything else. And this isn't soil that was just sitting out. I mean, this is just loaded. Now, grubs have an important role. They are decomposers. They break down root matter and help lawns and biodiverse planting areas to be better aerated because they chew on roots. So overall, grubs are not a bad thing, but if you're trying to harvest potatoes, grubs are a problem. So I was actually cultivating grubs in this grow bag. So I'm just going to fish through it and see if I can find any more grubs. I can take them out and I will reuse the soil. So this is what I got from 3 golf ball potatoes. And as I mentioned, I did harvest before, but this is absolutely a fail. I did not realize I had so many grubs in this soil mix. In order to be able to reuse this soil, I spread it out into a very thin layer so I can literally manually remove the grubs. And here you see I have the grubs all separate. So I'm going to feed the grubs to my backyard birds. I'll put this bag near my bird bath and let them enjoy a snack. And now that I have shifted through the soil, I can now reuse this soil. So this has been a learning opportunity. Be careful when you purchase compost because you don't know what's in that compost. And as I mentioned, this bag of soil had purchased compost as the majority of the soil. And lesson learned, I will stick to my own homemade compost or my native soil because I know what's in it and what's not in it. So I hope this video, it did not turn out to be the great harvest, but I hope that this was informative in some way. You know, grubs are not your friend if you're trying to grow potatoes. And this is what I actually salvaged. So my potato plants never had a chance to establish good roots because they were being consumed by grubs. Thank you for watching. If you found anything informative here, please hit that like button. And I just thank you for joining me in the garden. Have an amazing day. And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart.